President Obama recently announced that, there's going to be big scale changes on the drone program. Oh my God. We're going to take the program out of the hands of the CIA and we're going to put it into the Pentagon's hands. That's good because then you have to be in a war zone to actually do a drone strike. Or you have to have the permission of the host country. Now that makes sense, right? Or it has to be a country like Somalia where certain parts are not really governed by a central government. It's a lawless area. So those are the three possible ways that you could use it. Now here's something inconvenient. They would like to kill another U.S. citizen abroad, but he doesn't fit any of those categories. So what are they going to do? Well, let's find out. The Associated Press reports the CIA drones watching him cannot strike because he's a U.S. citizen, and the Justice Department must build a case against him, a task it hasn't completed. Now, don't get them wrong. The anonymous sources are from the government. They're leaking this story. These are not critics of the government. These are guys bragging within the government. They're setting up a case where they're going to kill this guy. So they're saying the Justice Department is setting up this case, right? Now, what they're not telling you is it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go from the Justice Department to the courts. Well, okay, if the Justice Department had the case, they bring it to the courts and they say, all right, now here's a U.S. citizen and we're going to try him in absentia. Now, you might have some issues with that, but that's a hell of a lot better process, right? No, they just prepare the case, they hand it to the president, and the two parts of the executive branch go, hey, should we kill him? Yeah, I think we should kill him. You think we should kill him? Yeah, we should kill him. And then they kill him. That is not due process. It has never been considered due process because it isn't, okay? So, 4 U.S. officials said the American suspected terrorist is in a country that refuses U.S. military action on its soil and that has proved unable to go after him. I mean, my God, he's in a country that won't cooperate with us. And I'm sure that if we weren't cooperating with China in turning over someone who they thought was an agent that was working against them, we would think that China has every right in the world to bomb Texas, right? Oh, we wouldn't. Oh, I see. We have different rules. Okay. 2 of the officials described the man as an al-Qaeda facilitator who's been directly responsible for deadly attacks against U.S. citizens overseas, who continues to plan attacks against them that would use improvised explosive devices. Now, that quote has 2 areas of significance. First of all, like I said, these are all government officials giving this story to the Associated Press. They're not critics. They're saying, look at all that we're doing, and this is a really bad guy. Trust us. No, I don't trust you. You haven't earned my trust. You've killed at a minimum 273 civilians in the places that you do drone strikes. You killed a 16-year-old U.S. citizen. You said it was a mistake. You never explained why you made that mistake. So I don't trust you, and you telling the Associated Press anonymously, no, he's a really bad guy. That doesn't cut it, okay? Number 2, they say, oh, no, he's doing IEDs. Wait a minute. Has there been any improvised explosive device attacks in the United States? No. So this guy's not a mastermind of al-Qaeda who's looking to do a strike here in the U.S. He's a guy that apparently they think we're fighting somewhere over there. Probably a guy in Pakistan who's helping with IEDs in Afghanistan, right? That would be the most likely answer because Pakistan doesn't want to cooperate with us anymore. Where do our soldiers deal with IEDs? Afghanistan. Now, if he's really doing that and you got him in a battlefield, take his ass out. Of course we understand that. We don't want him planting IEDs against our soldiers. They shouldn't be there in the first place, right? Our commanders should have removed them from that battlefield in a nonsense war that has gone on far too long. But they're there and we got to protect them. I understand that, right? But to say, trust us, it's a guy who's doing that, and we'd like to, violate not just other countries' laws, but our own laws to go kill that American citizen. Once again, I don't trust you, and that's not how our democracy is supposed to work. The officials spoke on the condition of anonymity, of course they did, because they were not authorized to discuss the classified drone targeting program publicly. So then why are we supposed to believe them? And then the senior administration official confirmed that the Justice Department was working to build a case for the president to review and decide the man's fate. Isn't that amazing? They build a case and then they give it to the chief executioner. That would be the President of the United States. And he goes, oh, yeah, looked over the paperwork. Yeah, you got a cell phone, you got something else, you got a picture, you got a baseball card. Yeah, go ahead and execute him. The president is not a judge. It's not due process for the 18th time. That's not how our system of government is set up. It's not a constitution. If they can execute a U.S. citizen abroad, there's no legal distinction about executing a U.S. citizen here with no due process. Well, the state of Texas was having trouble getting him. He was in the woods. He was in the desert. So we sent a drone, and the Justice Department agreed, and the president agreed, so we killed him. due process. We don't need no stinking due process. No, I don't know. Look, one day he was in Pakistan and we killed him, and everybody said it was okay. Everybody applauded that action. The next day he was in France and we killed him. The next day he was in Mexico and we killed him. We don't need trials anymore. Trials are so 20th century. But one U.S. official said the Defense Department was divided over whether the man is dangerous enough to merit the potential domestic fallout of killing an American without charging him with a crime or trying him. Well, is the Defense Department not merciful? They were split over it. And by the way, they're not even sure they should kill him. Next quote in the article, the Pentagon did ultimately decide to recommend lethal action. Well, of course they did. Should we, shouldn't we? Well, let's err on the side of executing him and see how it turns out. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Mike Rogers, who's a Republican of Michigan, complained last week that a number of terrorist suspects were all but out of reach under the administration's new rules that limit drone strikes based on the target's nationality or location. So here are Republicans saying Obama's not killing enough American citizens, and Obama is not killing enough foreign citizens. He's not killing enough people with drone strikes in other countries that we haven't declared war against. So understand the stupidity of that comment in two ways. One, he's mad that they're limiting the drone strikes based on location. So there should be no limit. Like I said, Canada, China, Mexico, it doesn't matter. The U.S. is a special government that is accountable to no one, that we can execute both our citizens and their citizens in any country we like without declaring war. Brilliant ideology, okay? And then number two, without regard to nationality. Nationality including U.S. citizenship. So Mike Rogers, the Republican chair of the Intelligence Committee, says, yeah, no matter where you are, even if you're a U.S. citizen, the president, and by the way, in this case, a Democratic president, should be able to execute you without a trial. Conservatives, you really agree to that? You believe that? You thought the FEMA camps that don't actually exist were bad? Wait till you get a load of the drones that actually do exist. And finally, the Associated Press explains, if the target is an American citizen, the Justice Department is required to show that killing the person through military action is legal and constitutional. I love that, because that's the cherry on top. That's the final little bit of irony there. They will make a clearly unconstitutional decision, but it's okay because they'll write a memo saying it's constitutional. Well, I didn't know you were doing that. Thank you. Well, that ought to solve it. Every story I read where they say, well, what if the program gets out of control and it starts targeting Americans? I think, what do you mean, what if? There's a guy we just put on a kill list that's an American citizen. They're gonna kill him. And they never checked with anyone outside of the executive branch. They never gave him due process. They never tried him. And he's set to be executed any minute now.